the police-involved shooting which left 3 men dead and 1 critically injured. On Monday, residents blocked the major roadway into the capital city from around 10 a.m. and there were also similar actions taking place in Port of Spain and Lady Young Road. Now with me to talk about the protest and the way forward is the Minister of National Security, Minister Fitzgerald Hinds. Minister Hinds, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on Now.
A very good morning to you right now and to your viewers, your listeners. Thank you very much, Kimberly.
Of course. Now, Minister, I just want to start with the arrest because I think that would have been the last update that we got. I'm hearing that 8 people were arrested following the events yesterday.
Yes, so it was reported to me by the police commissioner. I am not in a position to say what particular offenses they may by now or will perhaps later today or so be charged for. But I am aware that 8 were arrested, but I'm also aware that that tire dump, which is owned by Swimcol, I think they have some facility there, some storage facility, and that was deliberately set on fire. It means we are talking now about a very serious crime of arson, which would have had serious, devastating, and economic cost or loss to the owner. So it is in that context that you will find when people are protesting, which is their right, and they go beyond the pale of peaceful protest and get involved in criminal conduct. For example, pelting bottles and missiles at police officers, striking journalists in the process, mistakenly thinking that they are police officers or otherwise innocent bystanders. It really goes beyond the level that is permissible, and the police must and are expected to take action in the circumstances, although one empathizes and understands the reasons for the behavior and the protests and the actions we saw, but the illegality, I mean, that has environmental concerns too. I was very embarrassed when I looked across the skyline and saw this thick black smoke going for hours. And the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Service, also within the purview of the Ministry of National Security, had to dedicate resources for many hours to deal with that, when in fact they should be on standby or conducting other routine fire service duties in the protection and ensuring the safety of our citizens. So
Now,
these
Minister,
things
the
have
residents,
serious implications.
of course. Now, Minister, the residents would have been saying, or they said yesterday, that one of the reasons why they blocked the road and they actually went ahead with the protest action was to protest the police-involved killing that happened on Saturday. I mean, they were also saying that they were protesting, high food prices and other issues that's happening in the country. I mean, how do you respond to this?
It's quite simple to me. This democratic, free society that is Trinidad and Tobago allows avenues, pathways, methods for expressing grievances, disgruntlement, complaints, browses. We have all kinds of mechanisms in the society. As at an individual level, you could complain to the police, you could complain to the Police Complaints Authority if it is about a police officer. You could complain to the courts, you could seek judicial review, you could file criminal actions against persons, including police officers in the courts. That happens every day. If you have community concerns, you could contact your member of parliament, you could concern the minister or the government agency responsible, whether it is roads or so. So all of the avenues, and you have a very willing media corps. You all are very good at going in communities everywhere and listening to complaints and publishing them for the attention of the agencies that are responsible for the particular complaint or for the knowledge of the society generally. So I'm satisfied that there are many, many legitimate and other pathways and processes that persons in Trinidad and Tobago can use in order to ventilate their issues, and it need not result in chopping and shooting and burning down each other's houses and mashing up one another's cars and killing and all these kinds of things, burning the road, and even the electrical poles and cables are affected. There's no need for all of that. There are ways in which we can resolve our disputes and our differences.
So, Minister, if the residents of Beetham and Sealots have called for dialogue with the ministry, will that be allowed?
Of course, we have had much of that before. I mean, I'm also a member of parliament, even up to Saturday. Saturday, I responded to a request from some of my constituents on the Beetham who wanted to see their member of parliament to raise issues about their future, about living in the community and life in the community and their prospects for the future. And I took the time and I went, not for the first time, for the umpteenth time. And this is quite normal. And as Minister of National Security, I have responded to calls from citizens around the country and will do so very promptly once a request is made of me. And sometimes I don't wait for requests, depending on the scenario. I will present myself and communicate with the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago as part of the job.
No,
part
Minister.
of my own psyche as a human person who want to see Trinidad and Tobago and all of us better. It's normal.
Now, the acting commissioner of police would have said that the incident will be investigated, but as of now, have the officers been reassigned? Has any investigation started?
Oh yes, well, we, the commissioner, myself, and Lieutenant Colonel Ashok Singh, representing the Defense Force and the Chief of Defense Staff in all of the operations yesterday, we, along with Senior Superintendent Subero, who is in charge of the interagency task force that was in the front line yesterday, we hosted a press briefing, and at that press briefing, Mr. Jacob made it abundantly clear that those officers who were involved have since been taken off of their routine schedules and put to what is considered desk jobs so that the investigation can proceed without their immediate engagement in it so as not to prejudice it.
Minister, I'm not sure if you heard of this already, but we're getting reports that there's actually a car on fire close to the NP gas station on the highway. Do you know if this is another protest action that's taking place? Any updates on this?
I'm unable to say whether that is tied to the events of yesterday, but I can tell you I am aware, I've seen videos of it, and I've had briefings from the police commissioner and the defense force all through last evening, as we promised yesterday to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. There was and will continue to be heavy police presence and defense force personnel in any part of Trinidad and Tobago that we consider might be a troubling or challenging issue, especially those communities that we saw on the road yesterday. So all along the Beetham Highway, all along those communities, there was and remains heavy police presence. So I am not so sure whether that is related to the issues of yesterday, but the police are, I'm assured, keeping a close eye upon it in order to ensure that you, the ordinary law-abiding citizens who are to go about your business in peace, are able to do so.
Now, Minister, when these incidents occur, these police-involved shooting, the public wants to know, what's next? I mean, why is it happening? Some may even argue that it's happening a bit more frequently, as we are seeing in this current time. I mean, what is the ministry doing to address these issues?
Well, quite apart from the ministry, the criminal justice system, the legal processes, the system allows and takes account of that. I can name several police-involved shootings that found themselves investigated, charges laid on the advice of the DPP, matter taken to court, police officers have been convicted for them. There was some shooting about 8 years or so ago in the Moruga area. A number of police officers were involved in that. That matter is in the court. They were charged. Recently, some issues in Caledonia, the matters were investigated by the police and the PCA. The files are now, as we learned from the PCA with the DPP, he will mull upon them and he will make recommendations and action is taken. So I am very satisfied that there has been a working process. I will argue that things in the criminal justice system are taking a little longer than they should. And efforts are being made to quicken that because that is a part of the problem. And I am aware as a part of it, having responsibility for the Forensic Science Center, the police service, the prison service, and the probation service. These four, within the purview of national security, are part of the criminal justice system. And I am making efforts inside of the Ministry of National Security, earnest efforts to fix those and to ensure that they operate efficiently. I met with recently the Chief Justice on a couple meetings, along with the police, along with elements of the prison service and others, to discuss the criminal justice system and to go ahead fixing, because the Chief Justice, insofar as the judiciary is concerned, is making efforts to fix that, and serious advances have been made in the last 2 years, all designed to quicken the criminal justice system so that there'll be no such delays. But to answer your question, I'm aware that there are processes, and we have been taking action to swift them, but they do exist.
Now, finally, Minister, because I know that we're almost out of time, one of the most recent examples we have is the PC Guilds investigation. And I know that the Police Complaints Authority would have made their judgment or their ruling, and they would have made certain recommendations to the police service. Can you say, what is the update on those police officers now? Have they been reinstated in their post? Are they on desk duty?
Well, insofar as the police are concerned, officers routinely are removed from the scenario that housed or gave rise to the incident. They would have been removed from those positions and now on desk duty and that sort of thing. The PC Gilts killing, as you correctly identified, was investigated by the PCA. He has forwarded those reports, as he always does, to the police commissioner and to the director of public prosecutions. Having so done, these matters are now with these office holders for further investigation and charges or whatever will come of them based on what the report recommended and based most importantly on what the DPP finds in terms of criminal evidence. Sometimes the DPP may want further criminal evidence, he will so advise the police. And so the story goes. But as I told you, this process has worked, and I've seen many occasions when law enforcement officers have found themselves to answer serious charges following these processes.
Nice. Minister Hinds, thank you so much for joining us on the Now Morning Show, and thank you for just sharing exactly, the fact that the police officers will be on the ground monitoring the situation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Public safety and security is our business, and we will spare no effort in securing that.
Have a good one, Mr. Hinds. And that was the Minister of National Security, Fitzgerald Hinds. We have so much more coming up on the Now Morning Show. Up next, we have Shamla with